Hey guys, Trevin here, Gear Shift Garage, and I'm here with Hawk Lachey and the Salt Circus, giving you guys an update. Looks like you have transformed this motorcycle shop to a land speed record shop. What's going on?
Yeah, well, most definitely the construction of the black coupe in the motorcycle shop was a little congested to say the least. So we've cut a hole in the wall and cordoned a section of the showroom off to just kind of race car only type of shenanigans. But we determined that we need to go with the larger GMC engines. And naturally, there's no speed equipment in northern Montana. So recently, me and Lauren, the crew chief, just did a road trip, a 10-day road trip to Southern California and started in Long Beach and all the way up the coast, hitting all the guys that were in the game, which is a limited amount. But to say the least, we found a bunch of the stuff we needed and a bunch of the stuff we liked, and then a bunch of stuff we didn't need. It was just too cool to leave in California. So we drug it up here with us, and now the shop's getting fuller and fuller. So a little cleaning is in order, you know.
Right? So tell us, tell us about the Salt Shadow. So you went to Bonneville, we made a pass, the car was great, everything's good, but you don't want to necessarily use the engine that you had allocated for it. What's
The
happening?
original engine that was in it when my dad ran it was an iron 15-bolt Wayne head for a 235 Chevy. Tenaciously rare. They were rare in their time, but that really never stopped Dad. But getting the motor back and restoring it and putting it in the car, it's kind of a neat exhibition thing to get our feet wet, getting back out there again. Many of the old timers and the purists explained the severe rarity of that engine, and so determined to, in the future, attempt 200 miles an hour with that, which hasn't been achieved with the Chevrolet engine. So that motor is kind of on the back burner for now, but the construction of that car will be somewhat vast and it's going to take some time. So in the meantime, we decided to ramp up the Coupe's power plant with the GMCs. It was the 270 and the 302. Those are the most popular, is the 302. 12-port cylinder heads for those, the race equipment. That starts to build a great amount of power over the top of the 235 Chevy. So we have a lot of the 302 engines that came in dump trucks and log trucks and school buses and things of that nature here in Montana, whereas in Southern California, they've been running out of those, but they have all of the neat speed equipment, which you're not going to find in Montana. So this road trip was somewhat necessary, but now we've got a nice lineup. The car itself last year handled rather ill. And so making weight increases and some steering geometry changes and some different things like that, changing the differential in the rear end to like a one-wheel peeler instead of a posi. That's going to assist in steering. So we've got several chassis and geometry improvements on map, but we didn't want to go ahead and build the biggest, nastiest GMC that we could find and stick it in there and then try to get the car to handle well. So we have several stock head carbureted, and some of them are fuel injected, but they're fairly docile in the whole world of the big GMCs. So that's the first step is we're running a stock head 270, which came out of a drag car from the 60s with 3 Harley-Davidson carburetors on it. And that will get us kind of on the right path for dialing in the steering and the handling characteristics, especially with increased weight and everything. So it's kind of the experimental motor to get the car to handle better. And it'll be a perfect opportunity for us to get licensing passes for our crew chief Lauren and another pick, remember, Carter Colby. So we can get a couple licensing passes with the smaller engine. And then backup plan is a little bit bigger version of that with larger carburetors, larger. So we're just going to slowly baby step our way up in it. At the end of the game, we'll have a 320-inch nitromethane GMC dry sump with the Howard Arias head. Lots of every roller, twisty, zip, zang, doodah thing that you can throw at it. So we'll have one that's a full house mouse. But in the meantime, we're going to slowly work our way up. I think we have enough equipment now to safely produce about 5 racing engines as spares for this. So the next couple of years of the race program will be somewhat secure in the engine department. So that was the mission, just trying to find the right stuff and having a plan, because it gets really chaotic. And all of a sudden, it was supposed to be just a restoration and a meet memorial thing, and now we're all hooked. I mean, the hook's in the mouth, and we're racing now. So
Right.
make sure we got a plan.
Yep. Yep. And like you said, it's one engine, especially as rare as it is, and it was your dad's, and no use in or no sense in beating that thing to death. So
There isn't, and it, to the date, still the world's fastest 235 Chevy. It's just the popularity of that engine size was so minimal that the Southern California Time Association blended the smaller inlines and the big inlines into one big bulk class. So vastly uncompetitive against the larger 325-inch GMC.
Right.
So in spirit of not destroying the engine, I wanted to make the plan of building a streamliner. It's kind of been a childhood dream of mine. And then another stop we made on this trip was a Don Ferguson shop. And this guy he's streamliner legend. I mean, he's the king, right? So talking with him and got the juices flowing even more, and almost purchased the streamliner body. And, fortuitously, it didn't happen, but having the plan for that motor was kind of paramount at this point, because ultimately I don't want it to just sit. It took 31 years to get the motor back. We restored it, we put it in the car, it did its job, and now it's time for it to do the fourth race car that's been built around just that cylinder head. So it's kind of a neat history. This goes on all the way back to 1955 with that engine, and being that no one's ever crested that 200-mile-an-hour mark with it. It seems like might be the one.
Yep.
So that's what we're on to.
So you came back, you went on this 10-day trip. You came back with more than you anticipated and another car.
Wildly enough, one of the engines that we found for sale was wrapped in a 1976 Monza that actually holds two records, one at the Salt Flats in Bonneville, and then the other one at the Dry Lakes El Mirage. And it is a nitro fuel-injected 302 GMC with a dry sump, Borg Warner 4-speed. The thing is, it's kind of wild. It's totally the last car that I would try to build a race car around, but just looking at the craftsmanship of it, and it was built by a guy, Tom Finn, and it was campaigned from 1990 all the way through till 2018. So the car has vast amount of history with it, and it hauled ass. So, I mean, it went 180 miles an hour, that's its Bonneville record, which is greatly faster than our car's ever gone. So nice. This is motor number 3. At first we had some silly names for the first 2 motors that we had, and now we simply are just getting stacked up on them, so they're just getting numbers now. Okay. So this is engine number 3. So engine number 3 will come out and probably get a regasket and a cleanup, and then it'll just go right into our car. And that'll probably be something that happens either as a spare motor for Speed Week 2026 or World Finals. We'll introduce that if the big nitro engine isn't ready by then.
Got it. So the car purchase was for the engine and transmission. Car will get
the car. With the crew that we took to the Salt last year, several members of the racing team really got their fires lit too, and they're excited to build a car and whatnot. The purchase of the car, I mean, it was a price we couldn't really turn down. We were actually left Long Beach and drove all the way to Tacoma, Washington. At one point, we got a phone call from a guy in Long Beach, so we turned around and drove straight back the same route we just came. It took another 3 days off of our life, and just to procure the car and the trailer. So someone who's wanting to jump into building a race car, this is a full cage, decorated race car. Matter of fill it with whatever engine of your dreams and totally salt.
Do we know if Tom Finn is still around?
Tom Finn has passed.
Okay, and then do we know?
The clue is we're still on the hunt for some sort of documentation or anything like that. There are 3 girl names on the back fender here, which leads us to believe, with the purple S paint and the pink and stuff on it, that the car was campaigned by Finn and Pluis, but the drivers are Penny, Kelsey, and Kelly Finn. So the daughters or granddaughters, we're not entirely sure. Again,
so if anyone knows anything about this car, Finn and Pluis, comment, reach out to us, because it'd be great for a little history.
All the documentation we can get. Cars at Bonneville are issued a vehicle logbook, as the driver is issued a driver logbook. and the logbooks are, I don't know, about 3/8 of an inch thick. And the vehicle logbook for this car is almost completely full. It has made multiple passes. I mean, 50 or 60 passes at Audibility El Mirage. So it's been ran a lot. It was ran with a V8 Chevrolet in it for a period of time, but maybe it just didn't go fast enough. They had to put a man motor in it, you know,
right.
big dump truck engine in that thing on some nitro.
And that's the intent, right? Is to leave this on nitro, pull this out. Put it in
It's
the-
set up. Yeah, I was want to clean through it and everything. Nitromethane's not exactly something that I'm overly fluent in, so it's part of the learning curve with everything. It's nice to have one that's a known runner.
Yeah.
And now I can kind of reverse engineer it and study how it was done and why they did what. And again, sometimes you find mysteries of these crafty engineers and you scratch your head wondering what the hell they were doing there, you know. But sometimes it makes perfect sense, and sometimes it's real obvious, and sometimes you need to dig a little more. But the process evolution, man. Methanol only does so good. Nitromethane does better. Gasoline only does so good.
Right.
You know, so we want several different stages of our plan just to kind of try to keep it fresh. Again, even if we left the little Wayne 235 in it, that car went as much as it's going to go with that motor. I mean, it's set 7 world records over its campaign history. And now what? You know, so the next phase, bigger. The end game, the big nitro motor, is going to be rancid. So looking forward to that. I don't want to break it too much.
Speaking of bigger, I see a couple of Pro Chargers over here.
There are some class records on these engines that are supercharged records that are actually lower than the speed that the car will go with the 235 Chevy.
Oh, weird.
So it seems like a big. I felt like it was a misprint until I reviewed like earlier rule books and saw that now there's just a 149 mile an hour record that stands in a supercharged gasoline 12-port class. They get a supercharger. So when you're in California, people have superchargers that you can grab in a box and take with you right there. Again, some impulse purchases were had, but they were somewhat justified because that could be another part of the mission. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That can be another event that we can do and just try to hunt that record. The other records that we hunt with the gasoline classes are in the mid 160s. The fuel class with 12-port is up in the mid 180s. So these are getting to be pretty fast records. 149 mile an hour record seems to it might be low hanging fruit. It might be really difficult to get, but we don't know.
Right.
We don't know, and you don't know until you put the power to the pavement and try your hand at it.
Yep, for sure. And so right now should be set up to go with all the. I mean, there are parts scattered all over, but you should be well equipped at this point.
We should the next stage of the mission is to increase our shelving area so that we can itemize all of these motors. Of course, they're a 625-pound motor, just bare. And by the time you field strip one, there's a lot of parts in them. You wind up with 12 of these, 6 of those, 32 of these, 36 of these, you know. So there's a lot of parts. And this shelf was just growing from 2 engines. Right. And now we're up to 5 engines. So we're going to need more shelving space. The shop is under kind of a midwinter renovation right now. A lot of space is increasing. We're just trying to expand out. There's a lot of things that we probably just need to discard. But there were so many extras that now we're just kind of cleaning. So many parts came with the purchase of this car that we weren't even expecting. Just basically the engine and transmission was worth the money for us. Having the extras.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, wow.
I guess for those that don't know, can you give us a little tiny short history lesson on the inline and the rarity of finding part? I mean, because this used to be the standard. This was standard for kind of everything back pre V8, right?
It was. And Wayne Horning was an engineer with Chevrolet. And then what happened is when he left Chevrolet, he developed his own 12-port gas iron cylinder head. It was the Wayne Motor Division WMD 225. And that was the cylinder head that we had. There was only 2 versions of it, less than 50 units that were produced. Ours that runs is less than one of 20 that's still roadworthy. That turned into the development of an aluminum version of it for the GMC engine. Now, 12-port, basically what they're saying is like a stock engine configuration is going to have 3 intake ports and 4 exhaust ports, whereas all of the intake ports are Siamese, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and then the front exhaust is on its own. 2 and 3 exhaust shares, 4 and 5 exhaust shares, and number 6 is all on its own. So a lot of Siamese crosstalk going on in there. The 12-port is 6 intake ports, 6 exhaust ports.
Got it.
Cross flow power. And so that with the development of, these 12-port heads and Wayne Horning's footwork, Wayne Engineering was, I believe, purchased out by Harry Warner in the early 50s anyhow. That started the Fisher 12-port head, and then so on to other various other heads. I mean, there's probably about 10 different manufacturers who made them in very limited runs. So getting 12-port heads is somewhat of an egg hunt, and some are more rare than others. Some ran better than others, so on and so forth. So being that there's only 6 or 8 guys in the country that are real serious about these things, those 6 or 8 guys have a pretty vast collection. We got to see a great deal of it on this trip.
Got it.
So it was kind of fun to be able to snag a couple of them. We wound up with a Howard Arias that has never been on an engine, so that's a neat piece. That's probably one of the highest performing ones and one of the more available ones. We also wound up with one of the original Wayne aluminum 12 ports for the GMC, an early one. So that was kind of a neat score as well. So we were able to get a couple 12 ports on board, and then you just start stacking up the recipe of what exactly you do and don't want to do with each one. I mean, is it nitro? Is it gasoline? Roller rockers, roller lifters. These are vastly expensive, hard to get parts.
And then I also imagine with the rarity of these engines, even spark plugs, right? So there was a point where we were trying to find spark plugs, and it turned into another Easter egg hunt, which then we found in the aviation world that they were several $100s a piece. And so I would imagine anyone who is running anything high performance kind of tries to hoard.
They do
all these parts and pieces.
And a stop at Don Ferguson's shop. Again, that guy was a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you don't want me a nicer, smarter guy. I mean, he's the king. So I questioned him about spark plugs, and he was able to immediately put my nerves at ease that there are alternative variables that are like readily available things, So as we were looking for an L84 Champion, which is non-opinion,
right,
he was able to give me the NGK number that is a perfect counterpart to it. So thank God. But these guys, you have to try to get them on the phone. You got to try to get them in person. So these are that's a rare occurrence in itself.
Yeah.
And so to get that information and to find the parts and being able to bend these guys' ears, and they're all really supportive of what we're doing. Many of these guys are a lot older than us. And so them seeing some young blood that's all hot on these PPL motors, I mean, it gets them excited too. And they're very, very helpful, very friendly, very supportive. Call me with whatever you need, very direct type of thing. So it was an adventure for the books. I mean, just the trip alone. I mean, we came, like I said, home with a lot more crafts than we expected from here. But we've got extra stuff now.
Yeah.
Plenty.
And again, for those of you that don't know, the Salt Flats was an early way to showcase performance, aftermarket stuff. And so you've got a lot of companies today whose kids or grandkids are kind of trying to take that legacy for the company and still run fast and show people that, they can still produce fast parts, but they've raised the bar so high with speeds and streamliners, right? It sometimes seems a little unavailable. And I think that, going back to this inline stuff's kind of cool just to be able to, and these guys want to see it passed off.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate proving ground, and has been since before World War II. The first SCTA sanctioned event was in 1948, and they've just kept that going every single year, with a limited amount of events every year. So we can only get 2 or 3 trips of the Salt. So it's a very limited amount of time that we can do it, and with its popularity, And with the depletion of the salts condition, and I mean, there's a lot of variables that go on with that, but I mean, Bonneville's the great white dyno, and guys can chalk the chalk, but I mean, the Bonneville will let you know if you can walk that walk. You know what I mean? So it'll make or break the best of them, and it's made and broke a lot of the world's greatest. You know, all of the milestones in speed, land speed racing it happens there. So it's kind of it's its own planet, and it's just the neatest thing to go and do, and being able to do it with parts that aren't supposed to go fast. I mean, we run these engines easily twice the RPMs they're supposed to run at, like 3 or 4 times the power output that they were ever designed to do.
Right.
So making that happen, I mean, we could go with a larger V8, supercharged V8 Chevrolet or something like that for half the money and build 3 times the power. But there's a lot of guys doing that, you know, and not distract from their, you know, ambition and what they've got going on, because those guys go real fast,
Right.
you know, which is neat. I'm not exactly the world's thirstiest for, you know, speed demon type of stuff. I want to go so fast to try to make historical benchmarks, you know, which is why we want to go 200 with the 235 to get our little coupe over 200 miles an hour. That's probably going to happen with the larger GMC engine. So knowing that that's kind of my threshold, and 200 miles an hour is plenty fast enough for me. You know, I mean, there are cars out there that are running, you know, 480, 500 miles an hour. Not with me behind the wheel. But super neat to see, you know, and there's everything from model airplane engines to jet engines. I mean, it's, and everything in between. So there's a class for everything. There's thousands of motorcycle cars. So going to be a land speed racer, and you got to go to Bonneville to do it. You got to buy that $10 rule book. And if you got a dream, just kick through and find the reality of where you're at. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a lot of really neat vehicles out there, man. It's cool.
Totally. So I guess on that note, so these are the updates. This is where we're at. Currently, there is a mock-up engine in the coupe.
This was motor number 1.
This is okay.
All right.
Engine 1.
It has 3 Harley-Davidson Super G carburetors on it. Howard F5 camshaft. We'll have a roller rocker set up in it. Basically, we're going to leave the stock valve covers on it and leave a very stock, reminiscent of just a 50s soup-up job. But this will be a great starting point for the heavier motor with some different weight improvements and everything, and get our motor mounts and whatnot going on. And then engine number 2 is a same size version of that. This is a 270. We're going to be using a 302 on engine 2 with 3 500 Holley carburetors on it. And then engine number 3 will be the fuel injected 302.
Yep.
And then engine number 4 will be our 320-inch nitro motor.
Got it.
And number 5 will be the spare bottom end for said number 4, because I plan on braking. So
right.
I'm not going to be shy with the throttle on engine number 4. So engine number 5 will probably be the saving grace.
Right. So I think our next update, guys, will be engine assembly, getting the car put back together, and then our next event is in August.
First full week in August, Speed Week.
And then World Finals again, I imagine, right?
Well, yeah, you only get to go twice, so I just want to get both of them here.
All right, well, here we go. I guess stay tuned, guys. We're getting to work.
Fingers crossed we don't break everything.
Yeah, right? Cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you.